Good morning and welcome to the 2021 School District of Palm Beach County Virtual Technology Conference. The theme of this year's technology conference is Fast Forward, a Decade of Change in a Year. And I have to say, what a year it has been. My name is Jocelyn Ferguson. I'm a specialist in the Department of Assessment, and I'm an employee of Team Palm Beach. I must say that we are so glad that you chose our session today, and let's go ahead and get started. So, first, we have a couple housekeeping tidbits. So, you're able to communicate with one another using the chat box and myself. If this is your first time here, you're going to have to click into the chat area and create a channel. Then you'll be able to chat. The session will be recorded and it will be available on the conference platform for 30 days and on our YouTube channel for the life of our channel. Make sure you go and like the video and subscribe to our channel. Next, the moderator, which is me, I have a wrench next to my name in the chat. There'll also be other moderators from our EdTech department, and you would click on this if you need any assistance throughout the session or even throughout the day in any of your other sessions. Lastly, we'd love for you to share your thoughts about the conference or hear about things that you've learned today. So please share us on social media. Use the hashtag PBCTechConf on Twitter and be sure to tag at EdTechPBC, and I'll place both of those in the chat. All right, next, let's start our session. So our presenter today is Pam Wyatt. She is a former educator from California, and now she's working on the ed tech side, and she works with a company named Pear Deck. Today, she'll be showing us how to have 100% student engagement with Pear Deck. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, Pam will stop and she's going to address them throughout the presentation. So go ahead and make sure you put any questions you have in the chat. And now I'm going to present to you Miss Pam. Take it away, Pam.
Hi, thank you so much, Jocelyn, and thank you all for joining our session today. It's a pleasure to be here. Like I said, I'm a former educator. I've taught from grades kindergarten. I actually have taught through college, and now I'm working in ed tech. I've been in ed tech for about 10 years, but I will not lie, I love the classroom. I miss it very much, but it's a pleasure to be here today, and got to be a coach in a district and worked in classrooms for many years and absolutely loved it. So my heart is with you all, but I always want to hear your thoughts and feedback. I think as soon as you leave a classroom, you can't ever operate on perceived knowledge of what you think it was, especially after the year and a half that we've all been through. All bets are off the table, and now, you are now the experts in ed tech, I think, at this point. But I'm happy to be here, happy to share Pear Deck with you. What I'm going to do is I'll stop every few moments and check out the comments, and we can see if there's any question. I'll probably stop about every 5 minutes or so. So if you put a question up and I don't answer it right away, I'll stop and go and check those out and see what we can't get any of your questions. Make sure we get all of your questions answered. But again, thanks for being here, and we'll go ahead and get started. So again, my name's Pam Wyatt. Taught for a long time, and I'm glad to be here working with you all and to hear from you. The things we're going to cover today is I'm going to actually have you join Pear Deck as a student. I want you to see what it's like. I think as teachers, we really always want to see things through the lens of our students. And again, we don't want to operate on perceived knowledge, but I want you to see what your students see, and have that experience. And then I'll show you my side as an instructor or a leader in the conversation. And that way you can see both sides of how Pear Deck works and just get a deeper understanding. I know in Palm Beach, we've had many teachers use Pear Deck, and I've been working with many of you probably here. And so this is likely not the first time I've met very many of you. And as we know, so many sites we're using Pear Deck over the spring and through distance learning and in various capacities. But I want to also give you a little chance. I'm going to open it up. I'll have you join a session here in just a little bit. And then I'll do it in teacher mode, and then I'll release you to a self-paced mode for students for just a few moments, and then I'll bring you back into a teacher-led mode. But just so that you can see the different ways, really, I want you to have that lens and experience. So the first thing I'm going to do is over here, when you see my screen, you can see I'm just in my Google Slides. And all of these slides over here on the left are actually Pear Deck slides. They are some of our templates. Now, ideally, we have thousands of templates that our teachers can use for various topics, and we encourage that. One of the biggest things we also encourage, though, is we love that our teachers own their content, because we know that you are the best drivers to know what your students need and when they need it. So anything you have in your Google Slides, you can turn that into a Pear Deck by just using this add-on, and I'm going to show you in a moment. But the first thing, so I'm going to go to here's just any slide. These are not in any particular order, but I wanted to just put them out there so you can see the different types of slides that you can utilize. So here I'm going to just delete this. So here is a slide. This is not a Pear Deck slide at the moment, but I can, I'll probably change this. But all of our slides are highly editable so that you can make them what you want them to be. We have a lot of teachers that will put their own Bitmojis in, and have a little fun with it. But let's say I have this slide and I want to make it into a Pear Deck slide that's interactive. And so I'm going to make it a text slide. So all I have to do, well, first thing, I'm going to go back a step. Let's say that here I am just in my Google Slides, and all I have to do is go to the add-ons. If I don't have it, I would get the add-on right here and open it up, but I already have it. I should have it. I work for Pear Deck, so I'm going to open up my Pear Deck add-on. And so now you'll see over on the right, you can see that I have this, the Pear Deck add-on is here. And now I'm going to make this into a text slide. So I simply just click text. You'll see little Perry come up and he nods his head for a few seconds. And now at the bottom, when I see this banner tells me that when I'm presenting with my students and with you all in a bit, that this is going to be an interactive slide. This is just to let me know that this is a Pear Deck interactive slide. Just scooting down, and you'll see these slides again in a moment when I'm presenting them to you and having you join a Pear Deck. But here, like this one, I want this one to be a draw slide if I'm wanting to, I don't know, I'm not going to expect any serious answers from y'all, but I just want you to have a chance to interact and see how you could use Pear Deck in your classroom. So if I wanted this to be a draw slide, I would click draw, and in a little bit, you'll have a chance to interact with that. And I'll show you what it looks like on my side, but so on and so forth. This one, what's filling your bucket today and what's draining it. I'd like this one to be a text slide, so I'm going to put that there. And I'm just going to do this to a couple of more before I launch this off. But I just, again, want you to see how easy it is. Here's fill in the missing letter. This would be one, I'm a former kindergarten teacher. I taught it for about 4 years. Absolutely loved the craziness of it and enjoyed it very much. But I'm going to make this a draw slide because that would probably be a better one for these students. And then, these are just bell ringers. Like a lot of times you would have this at the beginning, but mostly here, I just want to kind of showcase some of the different things. Before I start us off and launch you into a Pear Deck session, before I launch it, I'll stop and ask questions. But the few things I want to show you is if I'm teaching and I wanted to add some other slides, I can go straight in here into my template library. And when I open that up, I have access to all of the Pear Deck slides as well here. And they're sorted by different areas that we think would be most helpful to you all. Another thing I can do is I can go to our Pear Orchard, and there we have thousands and thousands of slides that I could grab any one of those and utilize in my slide deck as well. So the Pear Orchard is also there. We're always adding decks in there daily in the Pear Orchard. In the Pear Orchard, we are partnered with PBS. We're also partnered with Newsela. So there's daily decks in there for just topics of discussion that our teachers can utilize, and those are all stored there. There's also different theme slides for times of the year, different topics in the media that you might want to have, or if there's difficult discussions, we give some slides to help have difficult discussions in in a tactful way, so that just any support you might all want. And we are always open to new slides from our teachers or ideas from you all. So always feel free to submit if you think there's a request that you see a slide like this would be really helpful. We love to hear from our teachers. Just about everyone at Pear Deck is a former educator. But here again, we don't want to operate on any perceived knowledge. So we love to hear from you all and get your feedback. But okay, so let's say I wanted to add a bell ringer or beginning of lesson. I'm just going to pick something. I'm just going to pick any one of these. So what do you wonder about today's topic? And you'll see over here, it's going to actually pop that slide in next, and I have it ready to go. And this is a written response, but I could edit that. I'll go back. A couple other things just to show you before we get into our own lesson is I can add audio to any of my slides. So if I wanted to on this slide, I can click the load audio recorder. I could record my voice. A lot of our teachers use this if they have second language learners in their classroom or for special education. You can do different things to support different students. And when I was coaching, and one of the things I know that all of our teachers work hard to do is we really want to do everything we can and to push students into grade level content rather than making content easier for them. We're always trying to make sure, how can I make this more accessible? So we've got a lot of features in Pear Deck that we've tried to do to give you resources for that. Another one of those is our immersive reader, and I can show you a little bit about that later. But I could record audio, put it in there as well. I would just click record, and here we are recording. Feel free to answer anything you wonder about today's topic, and we will bring it up in the chat. Okay, I'm gonna hit done and save that audio to the slide, and I add it to my current slide. And so it will be in there now. And when you are in that Pear Deck lesson, you'll see up at the top right, when you're interacting with it, you'll see that there's an audio tab in there too that you can use. So that's a real quick overview. A couple of things, I can always click on the hamburger here. Sorry, that's the teaching part of me, but you could look at the pull down menu there. And there's different ways you can have your students log in. Most teachers will always have them join using their emails, but sometimes in certain conferences we'll do it where they can join with avatars so people can have that anonymity. But you can click on that. There's how your Pear Deck works. You can always publish and share your lessons, which a lot of people do. So that being said, I'm going to kick us off. And before we go into our own Pear Deck lesson, I think I'll take a quick pause to see if there's any questions before we jump in and have you guys experience it as a student. And let me go to, okay, Jocelyn, you said we have a question, and this is our question. Yeah, I just started using Pear Deck and students love the interaction. Is there a way to permanently dismiss the notification to upgrade to Pear Deck Premium after starting each lesson? That I don't know. That's a good question. I do. I'll look into that, Michael, and I'll find out for you, and I will get back to you. And find out. I don't know if you can or not. Great question.
Yeah, one more too. I'll put it up for you.
Yeah, draw and draggable, Michael, are only in the premium level. Good questions. Thank you. We have the differences between free and premium are the draw and draggable, a lot of the features in the teacher dashboard, as well as the data you can pull at the end. I'm going to show you what that looks like, but I don't want to say too much, Michael, but I think that within about a month's time, you'll be in good shape with being able to have access to both. We're looking at some things right now, but I'll feel free to reach out to me directly, and I'll make sure that I get that answered for you. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't had that question come up before, but it's a great question. Any other questions before we jump in?
No, I didn't see any more yet.
Okay. Excellent. Okay, so that being said, I am going to launch this into our Pear Deck. On my screen, you can see I'll click Start Lesson. And I'm going to start this in instructor paste. In a little bit, I'll switch it to student paste. And you'll see while you're in student paste, I'll show on my dashboard how I can monitor where you all are. But I'm going to launch this in instructor paste. You can see it opening up here. I will also put our link in the chat so you can just click on it. So I'm going to copy click link. And in the comments section, I'll go ahead and put it. I don't know, can I put that in the comments, Jocelyn?
Yeah, you sure can.
Okay,
That way they can copy it.
I'm not seeing where to type it in there.
Here, I'll do it for you. See, so it's DZCXQ.
Oh, yeah, I was going to give them a link. I'll give the link to you.
Okay.
And if you copy that link, you should be able to put it in there.
Yep, I got the link here.
And you can join by joinpd.com with our Determine Zebras Calmly X-Ray Quick Jack. You could join that way as well. But also, if the link is in there, it's kind of nice just to click on that link for convenience.
Pam, it's there for them. So all they have to do is click on it.
Perfect. And I can see I have 1, 2 students connected, 3, 5. So I can see everyone's coming in here. Now I have a couple of options. I'm going to go ahead and start this session while people are joining. Once you start a session, you have the option to close that invite so that no other students can join. And it's a closed class going forward, or you can leave it open so people can continue to join after you've started. Those are options that you have, and you know what's best for you. I'm going to open my teacher dashboard here. So a couple of things. You can open it on any type of device. It's really, since it's web-based, it's easy to have on any device. But now here is where I can close that join code or leave it open. So if I want no one else to be able to join at this point, I would close it, but I'm going to leave it open for you all. And now you can see there's 2 different things. So in the background is what you all are seeing, and in the foreground is what I'm seeing here as teacher. So I'm going to move my slide forward as I see it here, and you can see how it's moving it forward on your screens as well. But I want you to see my teacher dashboard while you see your student dashboard. Now, keep in mind, as you see my teacher dashboard, everything that I see normally would be private to me, but I'm sharing it with you all. So I just want you to know anything you type, your colleagues will see. Not that you all would type anything bad, but it's just nice to know. So here again, we kind of looked at this, what we're going to do today, but we're finally doing it to where you all are joining and being a part of our lesson. So first thing, go ahead and answer. What did you learn today about Pear Deck? And I'm going to, and you can see you have access to still have your instructor notes here. And I'm going to open up my screen so you can see now. You can see, and I can see in real time as a teacher, all of your responses. I can interact with you. So with Scott, maybe I'll respond to him. I can respond to the free versus premium. Great, thank you, Scott. And so I'm going to respond with Scott here and say, you would put probably something a little bit more in your relative to your classroom, but I'm going to say thank you. I can add more feedback later, but now Scott will see that I'm interacting with him as I do this. It's very interactive, very interactive. Thanks so much. I can also, if I wanted to, I can also see that of the 21 people that have joined, I have 12 responses, and I can see at the bottom here who has not responded. So as a teacher, it's nice to know who's not responding and the engagement from them. We like to know who's participating, but we know that you all can't pull out when you have 30 kids in your session, 30 students. We know that you're not going to be able to realize, Jocelyn is the only one who hasn't responded. You're not going to be able to see that. So we like to keep it down here, and you can see who's not responded, and that helps you. I can also say if I wanted to share. So if here's Bonnie's response, I put a star next to it. I can show her response, and it can be seen by those around. But notice here that Bonnie's name is not with her response. We want to respect our students' privacy and their thoughts so that they have an inclusive environment, but their voice is heard. We want every student voice heard. We want student voice in every lesson. We want student focus in every lesson, but we also want to respect their privacy in that. So my computer's asking me if I want to upgrade. Isn't that the life we live? It always happens at the wrong time. It's all right. I'm gonna say no. But what I can also do here now, once I'm done, and maybe the response was something that was a different lens. We want to have a discussion around that, but we want to hear that voice, have discussions around it, and those opportunities. So now, once I'm done, I can click hide response, and we're back here. Another thing I could do is I could click lock screen, and I could have said, okay, you only have 30 seconds to respond to this. I could do that on my student paced ones as well. If I just really don't want students to be hung up, especially sometimes on the drawing slides, students get so interested in what they're creating, and maybe you don't want them to have that much time on that. That's totally up to you, but you could lock that screen as well. So up to you. But you can see your countdown, and now this screen will be finished, and we would go on from there. But it's locked. The next thing too is if I'm instructing and I realize, gosh, I thought my students had this concept better than that, I could go in here and add a new prompt that will come up next. So if I wanted to adjust what I'm teaching because the feedback from my students is dictating that, I can insert different prompts to help me out there or to adjust that. And I would click that prompt, I could edit it, and we could go on forward. So I'm going to keep us moving here. I want you to just get a chance to, this is another written response. I'm going to go ahead and just skip through this one and not spend too much time here since you've already done a written response. Really my goal is just to get you a chance to interact with different types of slides here. So we're going to skip this one. Oh, sorry, I'm moving on without you, but feel free to respond. I see some students are responding, but this next one here, this is a sorry, I went a little too fast. This here is a drawing slide. So I wanted you to have a chance to interact with a drawing slide. So go ahead and you can draw anywhere on here, totally fine. But I just want you to see what I see and how that would work is what I'm really hoping for. Right, and there's no pressure for any type of response. Again, I just want you to have that experience on the different types of slides where you submit. You can also change around with your colors, the size of your text. You can adjust all of those so that you can have text on your slides, the color of it, the thickness of the lines. All of those things can be adjusted. In fact, here at our company, whenever somebody has a special occasion, they'll send out a slide, and it's always a draw slide, and people put all these, on their slide that goes to that person. They'll get, a lot of people do this amazing artwork on them, but it's, see, like kind of what Paul is doing. You can see here on mine. Yeah, he loves chemistry. But we'll do, we use the drawing slide with a fun background for a lot of our going away, or if someone just like, we had a baby shower yesterday and everyone did things on their slide for that person, and it was really sweet. But the drawing slide is very popular. Moving on, what is filling your bucket today and what is draining it? Another thing too is when I have these responses, I can also go in and let's say, see, Jocelyn is responding. If I thought, Jocelyn, I don't mean to pick on you, but what if I didn't like, I thought Jocelyn was putting something, it's Friday. We can all, I think we can all attach to that one. Let's say, wonderful. So great responses coming in. Actually, this is kind of warms my heart, and I'm a people person. I get energy from people, love being around people. Let's say somebody put something I didn't like. So Elizabeth, I'm going to pick on you. Let's say Elizabeth had put something in there that I didn't think was appropriate, right? Well, but I wanted to share a lot of other responses so that we could hear and glean from one another. If I thought that Elizabeth, I wanted to share all of them, but hers, I can hide her response. I can pick a couple others to hide. And then I can show those responses as well. So here they are. They're coming up. I can hide them again. But just a different way to see what everyone's doing. while you're putting some responses in there, I can also open up in a projector view. So when I'm in my classroom, I can have the students have their presentation in front of them. The third view would be the projector view, and then the second view would be the projector view, and then the third view would be my teacher dashboard. So it's kind of nice. You have multiple ways to interact. It really is an opportunity to put almost like a there's when I was teaching, this dates me a little bit, but the big thing was these boards up in front of the classroom, and you would have a student come up and interact with it, and we would all watch, which is fantastic. But this kind of puts an interactive board in front of every student at every single moment. So everyone is engaging, and we're hearing all of the different thoughts. So, but here you can see I could do that. Also, those different views. I can also have a co-teacher with me. Sometimes we like to invite a co-teacher, and someone can be interacting more with students while someone else is speaking. If you combine your classes and you want to have a bigger presentation, there's different ways that you can use that as well. And thank you all for the wonderful feedback you're putting in here. I appreciate it. And now in a moment, you'll see, in a moment, I'm going to turn us in student pace mode, where I'll kind of let you loose for a few moments to explore through Pear Deck on your own. But that's where I will do it. So I'm going to keep on moving forward. We can skip through this. And we've done a draw slide. This is just a sample. There's a bell ringer. Sometimes you can, if you're starting a Pear Deck at the beginning of a class, you can have bell ringers to come in so students automatically get started. But just more samples of some of the slides that we provide for you. Again, I'm going to skip through this. I'm going to get you all, but we also have content area slides. We know that some of our heaviest Pear Deck users are high school teachers as well, because high school teachers, everyone knows what content they want to teach. High school teachers are very, very specific in the content they're going to want to teach and cover. And so they have a lot of content, and they'll turn them into Pear Decks very quickly. Like, they are some of our fastest adopters. One of our biggest users of Pear Deck at one of the schools I was looking at was actually a coach. And because they would have things about what they wanted the students to learn, do it in their home time, and then come back and actually practice it. So they were operating on like a flipped classroom, so to speak, where there was front loading them on things and plays that they would have the students look at. And then it was a football coach in high school. And then the next day, they would practice some of those. So I thought it was really interesting that he was utilizing that, but really cool. Here again, like, don't ever want to operate on perceived knowledge of what I think teachers would do, but it was very, it was cool to learn from him how he had used it. And I've always loved the model of a flipped classroom, when you can front load and then come back and unpack it in deeper, like in depth. So these are some awesome drawing, you all. Happy Friday. You're killing it out there. And then I'm going to skip through because we went through a lot of these. But I want to get you in a moment here to get you into student paced mode. So as we talked about, there's the student view, then the teacher view. To open up that second view, you could open up your projector and have a third window where it's just the main slide. And then you could project and share to your students' screens your presentation view. So I'm going to skip on. I think we've seen enough of the different ones, but I'm going to give you a few moments. I want you to explore some templates in student pace mode. And here I'm going to put up here just really quickly our Pear Orchard for you to go check out. And I'm going to add it to that slide. So what I can do is, actually, I'll put it in the chat, but that'll be one of your assignments when you're in student pace mode is to put that there. I'm going to put that there. I'll let you share it to the chat, and we have a few questions. So I think before I put you in student pace mode, we'll pause and take our questions, and then I'm going to release you for a few moments. But yes, go ahead, Jocelyn. Do you have some? How do you submit the response? Is it automatic? Yeah, great question, Catherine. So your response is still up there, and you can adjust it and edit it all the time. Because we want to see that was a great thing that we learned some time ago from our teachers, was they wanted students to be able to still change and edit their responses over time. And so on the teacher dashboard, I see what they're typing at that moment, that they're backspacing, that they're going forward. we feel like there's value in the thought process of how they're coming to that if we wanted to see it on the teacher's side. So we've left that fully fluid without like a hard close on it, unless you put a stop on that screen or we go to our next screen. Really good question. Is the table pre-made or copy and paste? So are you talking about the periodic table that we had in there? Is one that's pre-made that's in there. Yeah. And here again, if you ever think of other slides you want, you could really just cut and paste that image into your Google Slides if there's a different image you want, and then put a draw over the top of it. It's very, very easy. Are these different views of the student responses part of the Pear? So with the premium, your teacher dashboard is definitely a premium upgrade to have that interaction like that. So, we have a lot of things, and I can share with you. I can provide what's the difference on free versus premium. We have like a PDF that has all those items on it. I'd be happy to share that and provide it for you too.
And that was our last question.
Okay, fantastic. So, if you don't mind, Jocelyn, I put the Pear Orchard in the chat. That's one of the things I'm going to have you explore while you're in student pace mode. And I'm going to put you in student pace mode for just a few moments, and then I'll be watching what you all are doing as you go through student pace mode. So I'm going to turn you into student paced. You are in student pace mode. I'm going to say, okay, got it. And then I, in my teacher dashboard, will see who is doing what while you're going through it. And you all will know you're done. I have put a stop sign up there when I want you to stop. And that'll be like a cue for you to finish student pace mode. And I'm just going to give you about 3 or 4 minutes. Really, I want you to go to your student, the first thing really you'll do is just go to your, the Pear Orchard and check it out is the main thing I want you doing. And see what you get there. So I don't have a whole lot of interaction for you all on these slides. I probably should have added a few things in, but I really want you just to see the difference between what we have that isn't in these slides that you can also utilize. You'll see at the very bottom, there's peardeck.com, there's Newsela, and the links are there. Student pace demo resources, and then when you get to the stop. So I'm going to give us about 3 minutes just that's not much time, but at least you'll have those links that you can check out and look at until we are, you'll have those links to go check out. And even if you don't get to everything today, there's not enough time for all of it. But here I can see what slides you all are on as you're going through it. And then at the very end, I'll show you what I see in my teacher dashboard so that you all know what that data looks like at the end of a session and what I can do with that data and those lessons I've just taught and how they look. So I can see I've got 3 people on peardeck.com. I've got 1 person checking out Newsela, and there's also the Pear Orchard. The Pear Orchard kind of encompasses all of this. So, but peardeck.com/templates. So I've got 3 people there. And then I've got 2 people already at my stop sign. And what I can do here in a moment is I will turn this stops. You can see at the bottom, I have a stop student pace mode, and that will bring us all back together. When we do that, I'm going to share a different screen for us all. And I'm not going to open that up right now.
And Pam, Michael just had a comment. He just wanted to say that Pear Deck has a premium offer in the conference in the exhibit hall. So you go to that vendor and you get 90 days.
Yeah, sorry. I think Jackie, who I work with, put that link out there for you all. So thank you, Jackie. But yeah, Michael, you could absolutely get that, use that link. And if you've used the free versus premium before for free off our website, this link is different. So I think it'll still let you have access again, is my understanding. Thank you, Michael. We should probably bring you on board and hire you over here. Just kidding. Well, not kidding, but okay. I'm going to stop student pace mode and bring us back so I can just show you the teacher dashboard that I see after a lesson is done. And I'm going to actually end our session right there. And you can all see now that I've ended it, I can name that. So this is especially helpful for teachers that have different content areas. If they wanted to teach, if they teach, say, English 3 and they teach it twice a day, they could label it accordingly so that their data for each of those sessions is then stored separately. Because we know that you don't want to have like 2 classes with all their data stuck in one place. That's a lot of work, and nobody has time for that, right? This way, it would separate your data from each of those presentations. But for me, I'm just going. I'll call this Palm Beach presentation, and I'm going to save and end it. And a couple of things I can do here. I can generate takeaways. And what this would do is it would, for each of my students, they're going to get all of their responses as well as my presentation together. So if they want to have it as something to go back and study, they can study back against that, or as a review, but they would have my presentation and their responses there, which is nice. I can share this to our Google Classroom, when I'm teaching, so that is there in the classroom. Students can go back and check that out. And then I can also open up here. I'm going to open up Reflect and Review. I can share then copy that Reflect and Review link, but I'm going to open Reflect and Review. And what that does now is I can go in and see, I can pull up any of my students. Jocelyn, I'm going to pick you on you just because I know you're a moderator.
No problem.
And I can see all of Jocelyn's responses here, and I can give her feedback afterwards. I can give that response to her, and then she will see that come up, and she will get a notification in her drive. I'll send her that feedback. She then has it. I can add more feedback, and she can respond as well too. So we have an open dialogue there if we wanted to have that. But I have all of her responses as well. I can select different students, go through and do that if I wanted to use it for any grading purposes. I can now also go back to my sessions, and I can see any of my sessions I've had. So this was me just practicing earlier today, but I'm going to end that session here. But here's our session right here. I can reopen it. I can rename it. I can archive it. Again, I can open Reflect and Review, and I can also export a spreadsheet of all of my students, you all, in today, and your responses so I could have that. Sometimes teachers use those responses to add them to their gradebook if they want them. Some, if they've sent it in student pace mode, they'll do a complete or incomplete grade, or on some of those slides, they'll allocate responses for correct answers and transfer them into a grade book. On the 3 little things there. So I could export that to a spreadsheet, and now I have that spreadsheet and that data so that I could use it for the purposes that best suit me. But and you can see all of them here on the drawing slides, but here's the written responses. And then also we didn't look at any multiple choice slides, but your multiple choice would have your answers here as well. So you have that opportunity, but it's a way to capture your data as well in the product. So I'm going to kind of pause there, see if there's any final questions, but that's really how Pear Deck works. We're in about 1/3 of all schools across the country. We offer webinars all the time for our teachers, and we have a professional development team that supports in really specific ways. If it's like for English learners, special education, we have other resources we can help for that purpose. And we offer that as well. But one of the things we also find too is so many of our teachers use Pear Deck and they've never even attended a webinar. And I think that's just because it's the ease of use with the product, but we always want people to make sure they get proper support. So that, Jocelyn, I'll hand it off to you in the last 5 minutes.
I don't see any questions, just a whole bunch of thank yous.
Well, thank you all. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. So Pam, of course, first I want to say thank you for being here today. We learned a lot. I did too, as a matter of fact. And
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to go over the agenda slide really quick with you all so you can see it. So here you can see we're in session B, but I want you to know that our next session doesn't start until 12:45, which will be session C. At 12, though, you can go into the exhibit hall and visit the vendors. They have their own virtual booths. So like Michael said, Pear Deck has a booth and you can go there and you'll be able to get the 90-day code. So don't forget to stop by the exhibit hall. I want to say thank you for joining our session and the conference. This is our EdTech team. So from the EdTech team and all of Team Palm Beach, we just want to say thank you again. But before we go, I want to bring Pam back so she can have some final words.
Thank you all, and I appreciate all the work you're doing. I mean, you've been through a crazy year. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of glad I wasn't teaching when the, when the pandemic hit because, I mean, nothing got tougher than that. So thank you all for the work you're doing, and if there's anything we do that supports you, that just warms my heart, and we're thankful to be a part of that.
Thank you again, Pam. So again, I just want to say thank you to everyone for coming. And I want you to have a great rest of the conference and an awesome weekend. And we're going to have our little outro.